All right, so this second part, this question over here says, which of the equations represents the linear relationship between x and y that is shown in the table below? All right, notice when we have a table, we could definitely plug it in the calculator, but observe the answer choices, right? They are in point slope form. Remember, you're going to have the formulas on the test, so you want to always observe the form that your answers are in. Since this is in point slope form, my recommendation is that we find the slope by hand and then determine which form is appropriate for the point -7, -16. All right, because that's the point that's being used in the answer choices if we look, right? There's 7 and 16. So that means we're using this point, but we just have to find the correct way. So let's write out the point slope form. The point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Don't worry, you don't have to remember it. You just need to be able to grab that formula sheet and use the point slope form. All right, so let's find the slope. Okay, so let's say this is our point 1 and this is our point 2, right? Or let's just stick with the point we already chose. Let's say this is our point 1. So this is our y1, this is our x1, and then let's say that this is our point 2. So this is our y2, x2. So to find the slope, remember, we take our y2 minus y1. This is also on your formula sheet. Nothing you have to memorize. Something you can easily grab and use. So we take our y2, -7, and subtract it from our y1, which is -16. Remember, when there are double negatives, we need to change to positive, right? Divided by our x2, which is -4, minus our x1, which is -7. Remember, double negative needs to become plus positive. And now it's just about simplifying. So this becomes positive 9 over 3, which gives us a result of 3. All right, that's our slope. Now we can look and see what the answer choices are that has this slope of 3. And it appears that C and D are out of the question and that A and B have the slope of 3. But now we have to say, okay, -7 and -16, how do we plug it into this formula? Well, remember, the formula says y minus our y1, and y1 is -16, right? So that becomes, well, let me finish. So the slope is 3, right, times x minus our x1. And x1 is -7. So these double negatives, we've already established that we turn them into plus positives, right? Leaving us with an answer choice of B. All right. To the right here, it says which equation represents the line on the graph. Notice that these answer choices are in standard form. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, normally when we deal with the graph, we are going to find our y-intercept and our slope, right? So we're looking for the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. It appears to happen right here at -2. And then we're going to choose another point so that we can find our rise over run, our slope. So remember, slope is rise over run. So we go up 1, 2, and we go right 3. So that's our slope, right? So now, using slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, which is on your formula sheet, right? We can write our equation for this line in slope-intercept form. Y equals 2/3 x minus 2. And now all we have to do is write this in standard form. So we can subtract 2/3 x from both sides. And we have -2 over 3x plus y equals -2. But notice how in these answer choices, there is no fraction and there's no negative at the beginning. So we need to multiply by the denominator here and the negative. So -3. So we can get rid of those things. All right, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to multiply by -3 here, and we're going to multiply by -3 here. All right, whenever we multiply this fraction by what's already there, we're just going to be left with this numerator 2. So this becomes 2x -3 times y. So this is a distributive property, right? -3 times y is -3y. And -2 times -3 is +6. Leaving us an answer of B. All right. Now, when we get to this next problem, it says, which equation is best represented by the graph? Notice these answer choices are in point slope form. So we need to find the slope and then see if these points are on the graph. Which of these points are on the graph? So we have a slope of -3 and then a slope of 3. Now, we can find the slope. That'll be totally fine. But notice how this graph from left to right is decreasing, meaning that the slope has to be negative. So that means C and D we can automatically cancel out, right? All right. So we could not find the slope, but I'm going to do it for the sake of, where we're at. Okay. So I chose 2 points, and now I'm doing rise over run. Notice how I went down 3, so that's -3 on top, and right 1, giving me a slope of -3. So I confirm what I just said, right? This C and D are out of the question. All right, now we have to choose and see, okay, which of these points are on the graph? Remembering y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, meaning that the point x1, y1 is a part of the equation. So what is our x1, y1 here? All right, notice how that -4 means that our x is 4, and that +7 means our y is -7. Here, our x1 is -2, and our y1 is -1. Remember, we have to kind of think opposites when we think of the points in point slope form. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to look for 4, 7. All right, here's 4, and I meant -7. Is that a point on the graph? And the answer is yes. But just in case, I'm still going to check -2, -1. This is -2, -1, and that's definitely not on the line. So our answer is A. All right. Now, when we come to this table, because the answers are in point slope form, my recommendation is not to put this in the calculator, but go ahead and find the slope the way we know how. Make this x1, x2, make this y1, y2. Let's go ahead and find this slope. So, that's -196 minus -268 divided by -14 minus -20. Double negative becomes plus positive. We already established that. And so this becomes 72 over 6. All right. 6 goes into 72 how many times? Yep, 12. So that means F and G are out of the question. Now we have to determine the x1, y1. Which one is it going to be? Is it going to be H or J? All right, so they kind of mixed up their x and y. They're trying to confuse us here, right? But notice that the y is -268, so therefore this one is the one that wins. H.